Hello again, and welcome back to my house, at least for a little while, a couple more weeks or so. So, as you can see by these mostly barren shelves behind me, I'm in the process of moving out. Normally, that would be covered with a quite an esoteric collection of oddball books, and my wife keeps telling me to get rid of them, but I happen to like books, so I'm going to keep them, and she's just going to have to suffer. But that is not why I'm making this video. This video is the sewing portion of my trailer awning project. My original intention with this project, or the trailer awning, was to use a tarp, and there's a lot of good reasons to use a tarp for this, and I'll probably end up replacing my awning with a tarp in the future when my fabric one wears out or when I get tired of it or find a reason to do so. Tarps have a lot of advantages. They're lightweight, they're waterproof, you can get them almost anywhere. They come in a good variety of colors and thicknesses and sizes. So there's a lot of options for tarps to use on a project like this for the home do-it-yourselfer that doesn't want to do any sewing. But for those of you who do want to do some sewing, maybe these video segments you're about to see will help you out. So I hope you enjoy these. Thank you for watching.
Warning: this video may contain scenes of extreme untidiness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Here I am. I'm back in the clean shop. It's a little bit cluttered, but it's clean. It's the sewing shop, my mom's sewing shop, and they mostly do quilt work in here, as you can probably see. A lot of the quilt stuff laying around, all these wonderful industrial sewing machines. But I came over here to do my awning work because obviously I have a sewing machine here, and originally I wasn't going to sew this, but these I'm using a painter's drop cloth that I already had, and they only come in certain sizes, and the size they came in wasn't 10 feet. They're like 12 feet or 9 feet. So I've actually got these ones from before. There were two of the like 8x9 ones sewn together along a seam. We were making like a tent or something out of them for some Renaissance rendition thing or a Civil War reenactment or something like that. But I'm just going to use these old cloths I had, and if this works out and it's nice and we decide we want to put a different cloth on it, then later on I can make another one that'll be a higher quality fabric. But for now, this will be good to test it because I'm about, I'm like in the 95% sure that this will work range, and I don't want to spend any extra money until I'm at the 100% certain it is working range. I kind of live in that world between about 75 and 95% sure things are going to work. So whatever. But this shop is nice. I've got this wonderful big table here with these grids on it for doing quilting work and all the appropriate sewing equipment. So I need 10 feet of fabric. So I think I've got about 14 feet or something like that. And so I need to cut a piece off the end of it here. So I folded the fabric over 4 times so that I can get to it with the cutter. Otherwise it'd be this huge long thing. It'd be really cumbersome and I'd have to draw a line on it. And I've just put marks on it where I want to cut it, and I've left an extra 2 inches so I could fold the edge over and sew it down and not have it shred out. And now I'm just going to use this roller cutter. I'm going to go between my 2 lines that I've got marked on it, and then I'm going to just cut that off. A lot of the time I can use the grid on the table, but because this is so long, I just drew lines on it, and I just drew marks on it, and I'm just going to cut between my marks. I'll make sure my marks all line up. They're right there. They're good. The ends of my fabric are all lined up down here. Those look good. And now I could just put the edge there, put the edge there. Now I could draw a line on here and cut it with scissors, or I can use this cool roller cutter, which is a razor blade, a round razor blade on a handle thingy, which is really good at cutting your fingers off, or pieces of them. I cut myself a few times with these things. It's been a close thing. So you just take and roll that along this edge. Making sure you're lined up. And sometimes with lots of thick fabric like this, I have to do one at one. There we go. And voila. Sweet, huh? So I'm just going to set that aside. I don't need it anymore. And then I need to take this over and fold over the edge and sew it down. So I want to fold over an inch of this and then fold it over again. And this is, I'm just eyeballing this. I'm not really, it's not hypercritical. So I'm going to fold it over an inch down the seam here, approximately. And I'm going to fold that inch over again. That way it traps this, because you can see this free edge shreds out really easily, right? I don't want that out in the air to shred. So I fold it over an inch all the way along. and I fold that inch over again, it traps it in there, and then you just sew along that seam. So, and you can of course use different widths besides an inch. I just am using an inch here. Ow, I'm poking myself. And I'm just going to pin it so that I can sew that down. All right. Now time to sew it. And so here we are. We've got this is a Brother industrial sewing machine. It's not a walking foot. It's just the standard style. I've got an Adler too, which is a walking foot for really heavy duty stuff. If that makes any sense to you. But I tried it with the other needle that was set up on here, and it was for quilting, and it was just way too light. And then I put the new needle in, and I put it in backwards. And so I decided I'd change it out to heavier thread. So I've got a nice heavy thread on here now, heavier needle, and I should be ready to go. So I'm going to sew this up, and we're going to move on to the next step. There we have it. Now, if I broke my thread right there at the end. If you have never used an industrial sewing machine before, and you're kind of familiar with other sewing machines, just imagine one that works 10 times better than whatever you've got. And that pretty much covers it. It doesn't do any of the stupid little stitches. It doesn't do zigzags and all of the silly stuff, at least this one. But it certainly sews a straight line like no other, and it is a brilliant thing. I love industrial sewing machines. And whenever I have to fiddle with one of the regular like home sewing machines, it's just annoying. So it's a wonderful thing. But you can see, there's my stitch. And we're going to go and attach this to our bar and see how it rolls up. Now that I've got this sewed up, I had to go back and sew the other side as well. So both sides have the folded over edge like I showed you earlier. This edge wasn't very strong, and I'd also made it a little bit too long. So I went back and I took another inch off, and then I folded it over, so I lost 2 inches of length, and it's about perfect now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this lined up on my line with a little bit to spare, because I've got about a half an inch of space on each end. That way it doesn't interfere with my pulley. And then I'm going to clamp it on with my crossbar here. Sorry. That's all clamped on there. I've got a bunch more screw holes that I'm going to use. I just didn't have enough screws. I ran out of what I needed, so I've skipped about every other one. And we're going to roll this up and see how it rolls. Good enough. While I was sewing it, I went and I made a loop at this end. If you can see here. And I'm going to use to hold this on the back side. I think I'm going to use a piece of 3/4 inch electrical conduit across the back. And so I made this to hold a 3/4 inch bar. And I'll just stick that through, and I'll be able to hang that 3/4 inch conduit on the trailer. So I'm going to take this back over to the trailer and work on mounting it up. There. There we go. It mostly works.
Well, there you go. I hope that was informative. Maybe you learned something about how to build an awning for your own cargo trailer. None of the stuff I did there required industrial equipment. Obviously, it's nice to have, and I had a really good instructor, my mother, but it's not necessary. You can easily do that at home with home sewing stuff. None of it was really heavy. It's fairly simple to do. So before you click this this link over here to one of my other cool videos, maybe click that subscribe link over here on this side. It lets me know you care. And I've got a lot of cool projects planned for the future, and you don't want to miss out. So until the next time, this is the link you're looking for. I'll see you later on the Dirty Shop. Thank you for watching.